What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to today's Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to talk about the Freeze Champions, which is a follow-up to this mini-series that I started. We're going to go over the top CC or hard CC champions in the game. Then we'll probably do the soft ones. But I started this off with the stun champions about a week ago, okay? Then we had a couple more things to cover before. Also, I'll mention quickly that the giveaway for the 5,400 gems is still ongoing. I will let this go for about another day, maybe two, okay? So it's this video right here. Please make sure to go in, leave a comment, definitely like as well, please. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. That would really help me out. Anyway, let's get going because we have a lot of things to cover. Like the stun video, I am going to use my tier list. And now this allows me to have an overview of what each champion does, right? I'm able to isolate all the freeze champions by doing the filter here. And we're going to have also freeze AoE champions, freeze random, and freeze single. Now I get the partial list. The reason for this is because some of the other champions have a secondary aspect to their skill, right? So the way I did it in the list is I basically put those two together, which means I have to select as well as this option right here, which is remove buffs and freeze AoE, all right? So now the list is almost complete. Aside from the rares, right? I don't do most of the rares right now. Perhaps just Greybeard. I'll talk about him a little bit. He's an honorable mention. But like I said, I strongly believe that AoE, if you're going to use a CC champion in the arena, that AoE will be your best option, right? If it's something random like Luthia, or if I think she's the only one, right? So if I were to, let's say, remove that, then that takes her out of the equation because like I said, I don't think it's a reliable way to use the freeze. Ideally, if you're going to use a CC champion, you want to have almost 100% success rate if possible, and you want it to hit all the possible champions, okay? So same thing with the single target freeze. I'm going to take them out of the list, all right? Even if some of them are really strong, I don't think they do enough to control the enemy team. So now we're down to this list right here, and I'm going to go through the top 5 of what I believe are the best champions for the arena. At number 5, we are going to have Luria. Luria is a great champion. I've seen her a lot in probably gold tier 3, maybe some gold tier 4, because she has, like I said, an AoE freeze, right? Her skill is also, if I'm not mistaken, blocks enemy revive, all right? So it's only a 75% chance once fully booked, which is pretty good, but I'll let you guys know right away that there are 100% chance to success for a freeze debuff AoE, all right? So that's probably one of the biggest difference with the stun debuff is that you can reach 100% with skills alone if booked, all right? The rest of her kit is interesting. She has a decreased defense, heal reduction, and decreased speed. One of those right on the A1, and then she also has a remove all buffs and an 80% chance to block buffs on the enemies as well. So her kit overall is very interesting. She's also very fast, all right? But the main reason why she's 5 is because we're only getting a 75% chance. And like I said, that becomes a problem if you rely on this champion for your main CC. Alright, now we're back on the list, and I'm going to go over the next champion, which is, believe it or not in this short list. The reason for this is because, like I said before, some of the skills, the way they're built, when they have too much CC, I can't fit it all into one column. I then have to spread it across, so if I use my filters, I don't exactly see it. It's going to be, of course, one of our favorites right now, Tormented Cold, okay? So, like I said, because he has a provoke, he also kind of nukes. I said nuker, but freeze AoE, and then he's got a freeze on his passive. So that's the reason why he's on here and why I think he's a fantastic champion all around. Obviously, if you have him, you're very happy, number 1, but if you don't, you're annoyed by it, right? Because facing him in the arena, he has a built-in freeze on the passive, like I said, which makes it very, very annoying because as soon as you get a turn meter increase or a buff, it has a chance to trigger it once it's fully booked. Well, I mean, has a better chance if it's fully booked. He also has a provoke okay, on the A3, which can be booked to an 80%, and then he's got the freeze, which is only a 25% chance to happen, okay? So relatively low chance for the freeze to happen. However, because of the provoke and because of the way the passive works, I think he's definitely better than the previous champion. Tormund, however, is a little bit slow on speed, all right? But because the passive, like I said, and like I use him in a stun set, I think he's a overall very efficient CC champion. The best part about him also is that he's void, okay? Which means that you do not have a chance for a weak hit. So that is something you can always depend on. All right, now we're back to the list and we have to modify things again to go and get our AoE freeze champions. So like I said, this list, the way it's built, it only allows me to, let's say, give a specific role in each column, right? When a champion has too many of them, then it becomes complicated for me to try and figure out how I'm going to fit it all in. So it's not perfect when I use the filter option. But anyway, you guys understand that now, and I was able to isolate him a different way. But now we're back with this list, and we are going to go over the next champion, which I believe is Rey. Now, Rey is an absolute beast in the arena. Why? Because one, she hits really, really hard. Secondly, because of the remove buffs, okay? This is huge. This in the arena makes a huge difference. And then on top of that, she has the 70% chance to freeze once booked, okay? So it's not 100%, but because she hits hard and removes the buffs, it does so many different things in one skill that she's really, really good, all right? Now, she could be higher on the list, but because the purpose of this list is to go over the top freeze champions, she's only currently number 3. However, if you want a nuker combined with the freeze option, definitely use Rey. She's a little bit on the slow side, but overall, a really, really good champion. She has an AoE on her A1 on top of that, and then she has another AoE on top of that as well, which is her A2, all right? So really, really good champion. If you have her, consider yourself very lucky. All right, and back to the list once again. Next champion is going to be Shiromani. Yes, I think she deserves to be very high on the list because she has the ability to do a 100% freeze, okay? So if you're only looking for a freeze champion, then she's definitely a good option. She's also very fast, and she has the ability to increase her turn meter for each enemy attacked, all right? I used to see her a lot back in gold tier 3, gold tier 4, but not so much in platinum. Like, you'll see Rey in platinum a lot more because she's a champion that hits really hard and removes the buffs, okay? But like I said, if you're starting out and you only have this champion available, definitely use her as well, all right? She also has a heal built in, and then she has a freeze random on her A1. So again, you do not see that on my tier list because, like I said, it's too complicated when there are many kind of CC aspects to a champion. I can't fit it all into one column. So I decided to only track her AoE freeze. Also, Shiromani is relatively fast, all right? So that's definitely always a plus for the arena. All right, now back to the list for the last champion on my top 5 of AoE freeze, and it is going to be Gurgo the Augur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'll assume I am. If not, then please correct me. I'll adjust for the next time. But this champion is very annoying. Now, the best part, of course, of a champion like this is that he is void, all right? But what he does is basically removes one random buff from each enemy and then has a 100% chance to freeze all enemies, yes, and then grants an extra turn, okay? So, excellent champion. The only downside of this guy is his speed. He's very slow. So it's hard to build a speedy team around a champion that starts off with literally 12 speed less than perhaps some of the other freeze champions, okay? And if you're using a CC champion, you usually want him to go second or maybe third if you're using like a speed nuke type of team, right? So that's going to be a problem. It's going to be very, very hard to hit like 250 speed or 260 speed for you to guarantee that he goes first. It's not impossible, but because of that, I think it's its only really downside. Like I said, being a void champion though, that's always a big plus. You cannot get that weak hit. And then he has the ability to get more hits if there's already a freeze on the champions. he has a 50% chance to place a freeze debuff on the attacker, all right, as well. So guys, this guy is the ultimate freezer, like the best of the best in my opinion when it comes to freeze. So the only thing left to do, guys, is to now look at this short list here. Okay, so we went over Gurgo, Shermani, Raid, Torment, Nicole, Luria, and talk about the honorable mentions and why they are there. And I've got 3 here: Jingle Hunter, Greybeard, and Sir Nicholas, in no particular order, but I'll explain why. So let's do Jingle Hunter first. This guy has basically a one-hit nuke, and then if the enemy dies, it then has a 100% chance to place the freeze on every champion, every enemy champion, okay? But this is hard to do, right? It's hard to get a one-shot kill right off the bat for this to work. You would have to do the perfect setup of getting increased attack, decreased defense, maybe even the weaken, which means he doesn't exactly become a CC champion, rather a nuker with the possibility of getting your freeze if you get the kill, okay? Next up, we're going to do Sir Nicholas, of course. Now, this guy has a freeze on the A1. It's only 50% chance, but it cannot be resisted. It's a single target freeze. Definitely useful, but I don't think we use Sir Nicholas for this, right? We probably use him for the shield, kind of like the miscreated monster with the stun, right? He has an AoE stun, but we also really like the shield aspect about him. And also he provides the unkillable and 15% continuous heal. So still very honorable mention. And then finally, the last one we're going to talk about before I let you guys go is Greybeard. Greybeard is fun because he's accessible, okay? He's a defense type of champion, farmable from one of the chapters in the campaign. He has an interesting aura for the basically dungeon. So if you're starting out having a hard time in the dungeons, you want an extra 30% increased defense, definitely go with him. And then he's got the AoE freeze, which is only a 40% chance. I know it's only 40%, but it's still, it's a start, right? So if you're really struggling in the beginning and you want some kind of CC, this is probably the most accessible champion for that. However, he is relatively slow, okay? So very hard to use in the arena. I very rarely seen him. In fact, I don't think I've ever really seen him in the arena whatsoever, but perhaps, you know, might be useful to you guys for something, maybe for faction wars. He also has a provoke on the A1, and he has a shield and self counter attack buff, which is really interesting. So that's going to be it, guys. My top 5 AoE freeze champions. In fact, I don't even think the random or the single target freeze would ever be on this list anyway, right? Like I said, when you're using a hard CC, I strongly believe that the AoE will be the best option. Also, these champions are probably usable in faction wars and some of the dungeons, all right? But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Did I miss something? Did I overlook a champion? Is there a rare champion perhaps that really shines and I kind of like, you know, totally forgot to look into? But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.